Hey guys, I've just had the best day. So my son woke up and he had a fever, and just like that, it's a different day because in our family, if any of the kids fall sick, I get to look after them first because I'm the self-employed one. So usually Jenny, even though she can take sick leave, she does better when she goes to work and tidies up, and then after that she can actually take the second day off and be present. And we, so instead of me going, you have to take the day off, I take that first day off. That's our deal in our family. It works for us. And so I take my daughter to school, um, and I say to my son, hey, why don't we just cook dinner tonight? Because then we can make something heartwarming. I was going to make a pulled pork. We go shopping for groceries. I ask him if he's hungry, and he says, "Yeah." So we go grab a pie, and for some reason, I felt like I should go with his pace. And if this feels, if you're listening to this going, of course you should, then maybe you had a different upbringing. But for me, I always felt like, as a kid, the inner kid in me always felt like I had to go with my parents' pace. If I'm sick, I'm told, do you know that I have to look after you? I have to. But something about slowing down and having that get to look after you. Anyways, he had his pie. I had my pie. I finished it whilst waiting for him to finish his. And I said, shall we go home? We go home. And when we get home, he said, what do I do? And something I've come to learn about him is that when he says, what do I do? It's not because he's bored. He knows a lot goes on in my head. It's the whole ADHD thing. And we've talked a lot about ADHD because he's got it too. And there's this recognition that I don't know what's happening in your head, but I know a lot's happening. And he could see that when I got home, I wanted to get to work because I had things to do. I wanted to get started with the work day. Thankfully, there was no parcels to pack, and thankfully, it was just processing. I was looking forward to really processing through a bunch of clothing that we had bought over the past couple of weeks. And so he asked the question, Daddy, what do I do? And I go, you do need to take a nap. Do you have any homework that needs to be done? And do you want to game for a bit? And he goes, I'm too awake to go to sleep. It's okay. Then why don't you game for a bit? And he goes, where are you going to be? And I said, well, I'll be taking photos in the study. And so why don't you come sit with me? He said, okay. So we went into the photography room. He found himself a spot on the floor, leaning against the pile of clothing that I was going to photograph. And I said, do you want a pillow for your butt? He goes, yes. So I'll come outside, grab a little square pillow, bring it back for him, right? And he's just there for a couple of hours playing Minecraft whilst I'm taking photos. There's some conversation that happens every so often, but for the most part, he's just content. Then I said, hey, do you want some lunch? Do you want to take a nap? He goes, I think I'll go take a nap. So he goes and takes a nap. And then I went downstairs to the garage. I took some photos of the toys that are down there. Then I hear this knocking. And because I take photos underneath the house, the way that we message each other is he starts stomping on the ground and I can hear him. So I come back up and he goes, I'm hungry. So I proceed to make him a snack. And I sit with him for about an hour. I didn't realize an hour had passed. We watched some YouTube videos together. Usually things that involve, like Vsauce, some Mark Rober stuff where we can, discuss the science and how things happen and just curious, I wonder how this works kind of conversation. And I said, do you want to get your homework now? He goes, yep. And so I said, are you fine for me to do some listening next to you? He goes, okay. So I did some listing next to him. He did his homework, and a couple hours later, Jenny comes home. I take the recycling out with him, and he just starts running around the front yard, and his arms are flailing everywhere. He's like, "Yay!" And then when he came back, he gave me a hug, and he said, "Daddy, sick days with you are the best." And it really, I felt it, my heart just fill up so much. And then I came in and I said to Jenny, "I think I got the balance right today." And if you're not a parent, you may not quite get this. But if you are a parent and you constantly feel this, maybe they call it mom and dad guilt, where you're constantly wondering whether you are actually doing the best for your kids. Where you're wondering if you're doing all that you can, especially when you grow up and you try and figure out why your parents did what they did with you. And the blanket statement that every kid hears, every adult hears from their parents is, "I was doing the best I could." And it's like, but what is that best? And I've never actually felt this way until today, where I got the balance right. And I think what it came down to is slowing down and just being present, choosing to be present, recognizing that I get to have this day with him, and him recognizing it too, and being able to articulate that back to me was such a gift. And so I just wanted to share it with you guys. It's this channel, yes, it did start as a reselling channel, and we can talk about the things that sell and the amount of money that we make, and the fun we're having, living our best life as treasure flippers. But for me, it's about this. It's about being able to get to be present, more present than if I was in a banking job. I definitely was not present when I was in a banking job. I actually even remember when I was a mortgage broker, when by then my son was already born. There would be days where I'd have him in my arms, but I was thinking about loan applications that were still being processed, or deals that had challenges with them for whatever reason that was out of my control. I'd still be fixating on it, thinking about it. And to be able to do this business, be flexible, bring him closer rather than have to be further away in order for me to actually get things done, just means so much. That's meaningful hustle in a nutshell. Let me know. Those of you who are parents, I want to hear your stories, I guess, in the comments. I really want this to be a part of what this channel is about, where those of you who are, I guess, parents, gets to share why it is that you do the things you do. Being able to spend time with your kids, to actually watch them, to appreciate them. The time just flies by so fast. And when I think about, if he were to move out at the age of 18, we're halfway there already. It's so fast, so fast. Yeah, tell me about the times when you felt like you got the balance right, and you go to bed with a smile on your face, with a flutter in your heart, and a warmth in your belly. And thanks for letting me share this with you. Night.